ourselves fighting the current, swimming with all our strength toward the shore, but instead being pushed farther away. I called to our daughter, "Are you okay? Keep swimming." And she would answer, "Yeah, I'm okay," with her head barely bobbing above the snow-white foam. But I was beginning to feel desperate to get out of the water and to get her out with me. I could hear Benji's voice in my head, remarking that if we were to get caught up in the current, which of course we were sure that we would not, the tree sticking out from the shore at the edge of the bay would be our last chance to get out, and we wouldn't want to let the current take us much farther due to the falls a little ways up the river. I know. As I typed this story out, the whole thing really didn't sound like a good idea. But we are kind of an audacious group. From my view in the water, the last chance tree was getting rapidly closer. And as it did, my panic rose. Everything in me swam for that tree. I kept calling out to my daughter, probably more to reassure myself, who was farther out in the water than I was. "It's going to be okay. You can do it. Swim hard." I craned my neck to see her as I swam with all my might. We were going to make it. As I reached my right hand out toward her, I used my other one to grab for an overhanging branch. The limb snapped off in my hand. I felt like I was watching myself in some kind of movie scene, willing myself to make it to the shore and somehow get my daughter there with me. The current crashed my legs against jagged rocks, still pulling my body fast away from the bank I was reaching for, and still pulling my baby fast and away from my outstretched arm. As I finally grabbed hold of another branch, I turned to reach for my daughter, but she was too far away, her arms outstretched, her head barely visible over the white foam of the rapids. I thought I heard her call for me as she was swept around the corner, out of my view, into the vast, swirling water. I know what you were thinking. A mother's worst nightmare. And it was. Had this been a scene from a movie, I couldn't have scripted it to be more intense. The current was still slamming my legs into the craggy shore as I clung, breathless, to my tree branch. Only one word came to my mind and to my lips: Jesus. I'm not quite sure now, looking back, if I was actually yelling it or only crying out in my mind, over and over, "Jesus, Jesus, save her. Please, Jesus." I had no idea what was around that bend in the river. Benji had mentioned falls up ahead, but I didn't know how far, and all I could do was imagine the worst. "Jesus, I need you to save my baby. I need you to save her, Lord Jesus. Please, please, please." Over and over. I realized I was still pulling hard on a tree limb that might not support my weight much longer. Slowly, I pulled myself up onto a boulder in the beating sun. Though later I realized that I was covered in cuts and bruises, I didn't remember feeling any pain. The sound of the river roared in my ears as I situated myself and waved to Benji and the girls far away on the shore, trying to somehow let them know that I was all right, but that I was also alone. I was too far away to make out the expressions on their faces, and I wasn't sure how much they had been able to see. No one seemed to be moving very frantically, though I later learned that a few of them had run up to get help from someone at the campsite. And I wondered why no one was screaming or crying in horror at the fact that I had surely just lost their sister to the raging rapids. I tried yelling to them that I couldn't see her and she wasn't safe, but the rushing water drowned out my voice. A few of them waved back, seemingly unfazed. As I watched my family walking toward me, I never stopped calling out to Jesus to save our daughter. I don't know how long I sat there. It felt like a blink and also an eternity. It was certainly long enough to envision every possible worst-case scenario. I chided myself for being so foolish and overconfident and not heeding the warning of the sign. My mind filled with thoughts of having to search the river for a body. I sat on my rock, exhausted from both the river